Good morning. I'm Hassan Giordano, and this is your DMV Daily Dose for Thursday, January 23rd, 2020.
It's currently clear and 27 degrees in Baltimore. Expect mostly cloudy skies starting early in the morning at 6 a.m. Today's high will be 42 degrees, and the low will be 24.
Addressing the judge calmly, hugging two special agents of the FBI, and rebuffing reporters afterwards with a firm no comment, former Maryland State Delegate Cheryl Glenn pleaded guilty to bribery charges yesterday in Baltimore. Glenn admitted to felony charges of soliciting and accepting $33,750 in exchange for actions she carried out as a Maryland state lawmaker. The case against Glenn became public in December when prosecutors released a criminal information that had been issued in July detailing her boasts about her power in Annapolis and her rendezvous in area restaurants to collect the cash. In court yesterday, prosecutors revealed that Glenn had quietly signed a plea agreement on June 24, 2019. There were no hints as to the identity of the business owners who bribed Glenn or Associates 1 or Associate 2 who helped carry out the scheme. And there's also been no discussion on whether Glenn had cooperated with prosecutors, though there was a reference to a sealed supplement to the plea agreement. Now, the FBI agents who have been sitting at the prosecution table with Assistant U.S. Attorneys Leo Wise and Derek Hines appeared to be closely involved with the case. One of them even had a scheduling conflict with the first proposed date for sentencing, and to accommodate, they actually pushed back the sentencing date of May 8th at 9:30 a.m. At the end of the brief hearing, as reporters filed out of the room, Glenn was approached by the two FBI agents, Stephen Quisenberry and Heather Grau. She hugged each of them for a very long time. Asked outside the courtroom why she did so and why she accepted the bribes, Glenn pursed her lips and kept walking. Now, the question on everybody's mind is, as first question on the DMV Daily Show back in December, who is the FBI snitch? Is Glenn telling? And if so, who was the snitch that wound up bringing her down? Now, lawmakers in Annapolis walk an uneasy line today as they too are wondering if they may be next to meet the fate of federal prosecution. Glenn is merely the most recent of a handful of state lawmakers who've been arrested and charged with federal crimes in 2019 alone, which included Delegate Tawana Gaines, former state senator and Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh, and more. Now, Hannah Gaskill of Maryland Matters is reporting that Cortez Bowman told the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee during a hearing on Tuesday that when he was released from the Maryland Correctional Institution in Hagerstown, he didn't have a real ID. He said that the Department of Corrections issued him a small red card with his picture and name. That's standard practice here in Maryland. As the law currently stands, the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services has a partnership with the Motor Vehicle Administration that requires them to issue a state ID that meets the standards of a second-class ID to inmates who apply before their release. Now, ex-offenders then have 60 days post-release to get an MVA-issued ID for $2 by presenting their release ID, Social Security card, birth certificate, prison discharge documents, and residency paperwork at a local MVA office, which is what Bowman told the committee he tried to do. With his newfound freedom and his mind focused on doing the right thing, Bowman headed to the MVA, but being recently released and homeless, said that he encountered multiple obstacles. They hit me with bills, he testified. I'm thinking in my mind, how am I going to get this $25 and nobody's going to give it to me? So he said he ended up stealing the money and wound up back in the penal system. Now, Senator Arthur Ellis, a Democrat from Charles County, is sponsoring the bill that would help people re-enter in society by ordering the state MVA to directly equip inmates in Maryland correctional facilities with MVA-administered identification cards and renewing eligible driver's licenses before their release, removing the short-lived correctional release cards altogether. Ellis said he came up with the idea for the proposed legislation after a town hall forum that Congressman Steny Hoyer hosted in his district, where a number of former offenders brought the challenges they were facing without a proper state ID to his attention. Now, Maryland Matters is also reporting that almost 11 months after Delegate Mary Ann Lasanti, a Democrat from Harford County, was censored by her House colleagues for uttering a racial epithet, the incident continues to reverberate on her home turf. Earlier this month, the Harford County Democratic State Central Committee voted to remove the party chairwoman, Denise Perry, from office at a special meeting after months of conflict between members, some of it related to the Lasanti incident. Now, Perry's removal is the culmination of long-standing personality clashes within the committee. Members who are elected to serve 4-year terms have become accustomed to personal disputes and strained communications, exacerbated, according to people on the committee and other Democratic leaders, by racial tensions. Perry was ousted by a vote of 6-2, but those in favor of her removal offered different reasons for siding against the party leader. Aberdeen City Councilman and committee member Adam Hiob made the motion to remove Perry from office at the meeting on January 9th, stating that the chairwoman had either knowingly or unknowingly contributed to complete disharmony and frustration on the part of the members, party activists, and elected officials. Hiob said that Perry lost the support and patience of her fellow Central Committee members in June of 2019 when she failed to provide the community with adequate notice of a vacancy on the committee left by the resignation of former member Donna Cahill. However, those in support of Perry allege that some members of the committee have ulterior motives for ousting the chair, including retaliation for Perry's recommendation that Delegate Lasanti resign following the lawmaker's use of a racial slur last year to describe a legislative district in Prince George's County to fellow legislators at Annapolis Bar. Perry has been a member of the Central Committee since 2017 and was elected chair by her fellow committee members in 2018. She's an African-American woman, while almost all of the remaining members are white. The Baltimore Sun's Phil Davis is reporting that the case against a Baltimore-based attorney accused of smuggling Suboxone into the Roxbury Correctional Institute in Hagerstown has been placed on an inactive docket. Court records show that charges against Stephen Thurman Mitchell, who was accused of trying to smuggle 125 strips of Suboxone into the Washington County prison inside 2 binders while visiting his client Michael Brown, were moved to an inactive docket on Tuesday. Now, Suboxone is a drug used at addiction treatment centers and some prisons to treat opioid addiction. However, it can be used to get high with as well. Mitchell faced 4 misdemeanor charges related to the incident and was originally set to go to trial on August 21st at the Washington County District Court in Hagerstown. The Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services said that in June of 2019, Mitchell brought the 2 binders to Brown during a Friday visit, and that a correctional officer seized the binders and found the Suboxone after he noticed Mitchell trying to leave without them. Now, the Baltimore Sun's Colin Campbell is reporting that Baltimore City has collected no taxes on an estimated $9 million of Uber and Lyft rides per year, despite a 2015 state law enabling them to do so, costing the city roughly $2.1 million in revenue annually, according to the city Department of Finance. Revenues from the city's parking tax, meters, and city-owned garages, meanwhile, have plunged a collective $4.1 million, or about a 6% decrease in the past 2 years, according to the Finance Department, which called the growth of ridershare one of the factors explaining the recent sharp decline. Now, Uber and Lyft pay a 25-cent tax on each ride originating in Annapolis, Brunswick, Frederick, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, and Ocean City due to local laws in those municipalities. Uber, which charged Baltimore riders 25 cents extra for nearly a year in anticipation of having to pay a similar tax here in the city of Baltimore, instead began crediting them with Uber cash in recent weeks for a city-specific fee that was, quote, ultimately not collected by the city. Despite pressure from City Councilman Ryan Dorsey of the 3rd District, the administration of then-Mayor Catherine Pugh did not introduce a bill that would have allowed the city to begin taxing Uber and Lyft rides until January of 2019. And then, once she was removed as mayor, the incoming administration of Bernard C. Jack Young did nothing to force the issue, and the committee hearing scheduled for October of last year was postponed so that newly elected council president Brandon Scott could be, quote, briefed on the bill, leaving us today where we stand without anything to show for it. Now, the bill is set to be heard by the council's Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee later today at 10 a.m. The 2020 election is still months off, but some of the biggest fundraisers in Maryland are eyeing 2022's election, says my man Luke Broadwater in the Baltimore Sun. Maryland Comptroller Peter Franchot, who has announced plans to run for governor 2 years from now, posted a whopping $1,572,296 in campaign cash when he filed his latest state finance report. That's more than any other state politician, followed by Baltimore Mayor Bernard C. Jack Young, who's running to keep his job this April, who had $960,000 cash on hand. Now, to date, Franchot is the only candidate running for governor, but several other prominent Democrats posted fundraising totals that would make them viable competitors should they choose to run in 2022. Baltimore County Exec Johnny Olszewski Jr., or Johnny O, raised more than last year than just about anyone else in the state. Olszewski, who could seek re-election in 2022 as Baltimore County Exec, or run for governor, has a possibility of being the front runner against Franchot in the governor's race, having raised $977,135 and has $914,115 cash on hand. Meanwhile, Prince George's County Exec Angela Osbrooks, who, like Olszewski, could run for re-election as county exec or run for governor in 2022, or choose to face off against Franchot, raised $453,960, while Democratic Howard County exec Calvin Ball, who could also run for re-election as Howard County exec in 2022 or run for governor, raised $448,564. Meanwhile, the two new presiding officers in the Maryland General Assembly posted big fundraising totals that would allow them to help their Democratic caucus members in the state Senate and House of Delegates who face tough races against Republicans in 2022, as well as to help out their Democratic nominee for governor in 2022 as well. New Senate President Bill Ferguson, senator from the 46th District of Baltimore City, raised $789,970, while the new Speaker of the House, Adrian Jones from Baltimore County, raised $758,999. I'm your man, Mr. Politics, and this has been your DMV Daily Dose for Thursday, January 23rd, 2020. For more information on the articles that I've mentioned, just go on over to the website, www.dmvdaily.news.